Fill her up. Have you ever had the opportunity to use that phrase? I have. In my youth, they used to have gas station attendants that you would drive into the gas station, you would roll down your window, or you'd push the button nowadays, and you would ask the attendant to fill her up, fill up your gas tank. And they would say, well, what kind of gas would you like, ma'am? And then they'd ask a couple of other questions. But they would literally check the air pressure in your tires, check your oil, wash your windshield, sometimes the front and the back, fill your gas tank, all for free. I know. Bygone days. I'm sure there's a few. There's actually one still full service gas station in my small town, but they're very few and far between. Everything's self-serve nowadays. Even the stores like Walmart and Target and grocery stores are self-serve, which for some of us is a challenge. All right. Well, today we are talking about a bunch of things in our supersize challenges, but filler up was one of them, and the use of filler words. And I challenged everybody to listen to about 30 seconds of me talking and then share in the comments below the filler word or words, because I know I use more than one, that I use most often, to give me feedback so I can pick the most commonly used one and get it the heck out of my speaking communication. So today we are also covering step 2 of the SOAP framework, which is the O, and it stands for brainstorming options, or coming up with different possible options in order to fill the gap between where we are and where we want to be. In my instance, I want to be a better listener. That's the communication skill area that I decided in challenge area I want to work on. And then I shared the 10-3-1 tool, which is just a brainstorming tool I made up in about 2020 to remind us that there's infinite possible ways to do anything, but mostly our brain doesn't want to consider all those, and our subconscious certainly doesn't want to consider all of those. So we have to push ourselves to come up with more than just 2 or 3 options to choose from. Otherwise, we box ourselves in and we find ourselves getting the same results over and over and over again because we're not looking at and even seeing all the possible opportunities that are out there. So I use the 10-3-1 tool, where we brainstorm at least 10 possible ways of filling the gap between where we are and where we want to be. And I just rate myself as a listener where I am right now and then where I want to be. And it's a pretty big gap. It's narrowing as I practice and improve the skill over time. But I've always got room for improvement there. So talking about that, I am also participating in a challenge called the 100. It's a school platform challenge by a group called Synthesizer Scaling. And I'm excited to be a part of it. Every once in a while, I notice that I need to be reined in, imagine that, and reminded that there are solved problems that I try to create new solutions for that is just a waste of my time and energy. And as I get older, I want to simplify everything that I do in my life. And one of the ways I want to do that is by centralizing myself on the school platform. Well, in order to grow my school platform, I need to do it the right way. I've spent 6 months, like I do with every new thing that I investigate, studying and learning and searching and trying to find the bits and pieces that create the results that I want. And what I found is I get dragged in too many different directions. And instead of being focused and taking action and doing the things I know I need to do, which is really interesting because this is exactly what I coach people on, I always find it fascinating. I remember the first time I realized that I was coaching people on the exact same thing that I needed to do for myself and for my own business. I was talking to Ross, and I will never forget, because he was one of my first clients, and I talked to him for hours a day some weeks. And it's because I wanted to learn to be a better coach, to be a better mentor, to be a better leader. And he was my test student. I hope he's doing well. I'm going to have to touch base with him and see how he's doing. All right, I digress. So, doing the 100, doing a challenge in Victoria Gallagher's community on school, actually 2, as part of her VIP and as an ongoing challenge. That one's got another 2 months to roll. So I'm a little bit on the busy side, but I love it. I'm going to be even busier. I am going to be research interviewing, which reminds me of my old journalist days. I'm super excited. A bunch of different business owners to determine what is the thing you need right now, because that is what I want to offer. I don't want to offer what I think people need. I've done that a lot in the past, and it's successful, but it's not nearly as successful as it should be, in my, of course, estimation. But in real results too. And so I am going to be reaching out to some people and saying, hey, do you want to just spend a few minutes with me? Let me ask you some questions. No pressure, no nothing. Just want information on what's working in your business, what's not. What if there was one thing you would want to knock out of the park and fix right now? What is that one thing for you and your business? Do you even know what that one thing is? I will admit that normally when there's something or there was friction in my business or we were having a bottleneck, it always somehow led to me. I know my ego couldn't hardly take it, but it totally could, because I realized that a lot of times when when we hit up against a block or a challenge, I was totally and completely the bottleneck. And when I realized that, I just immediately jumped aside and said, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry, run with this. And they would, and we would have another breakthrough. And that's what I want to know for myself and for people I'm here to help and serve. What one thing do you want help with? Not one thing do I think is your biggest challenge. What one thing do you think it is? Because that's always what it is. We always know, even if we don't tell ourselves that we know. All right, I am rambling. That might be one of my fillers. Share in the comments below if you would like help, if you're open to just a little conversation. I just want to know about you and what is most important to you. And that, heck, you can just send me a message if you want. Hey, this is what's most important to me in my business right now. You can comment below if you're brave enough to do that. I don't really think it takes that much bravery to comment. It takes bravery to comment things that are mean, or I don't think so. I think that's pretty cowardly, actually. All right, we better get off here because I'm going to digress quickly. If I can help you in any way, ask. Otherwise, have an absolutely incredible day. And I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. Bye. Slow connection. More coffee.